Yeah, I'm back on live, folks. I know you're not asleep at all, so yeah, the title says it all. I'm gonna talk about a multitude of things since I wasn't online as not on live as long as usual, I would say. So with that being said, I'm gonna wait for you guys to get up in here. I know y'all not asleep. It's 11 something on a Friday night. So with that being said, I'm gonna talk about astrology, angels, demons. So what else? The lies that were made on that are made on Kemet in Egypt/Egypt. So with that being said, I'm gonna talk about what I was going in on the last live towards the end on how people use astrology to support their spiritual beliefs and why these people are sacrificing children, extracting all the stuff from them, such as adrenochrome, melanin, things like that, and what it comes from. So, on the basis of that, I'm gonna say the group of people that are doing what we call child trafficking or child sacrifice comes from Greek, um, an ancient Greek culture. So with that being said, they sacrificed children to the god Kronos or Cronus. He was the god of Saturn, Uranus, and they did these or performed these rituals on Saturday for a reason because the god Kronos rules over Saturday because Saturn rules over Saturday because Kronos was the god of Saturn and Saturday rules over Capricorn and Aquarius. Those are Saturday's the day for Capricorns and Aquarius. So they utilize that energy to sacrifice children and sacrifice them to that deity because they believe, children are closest to that such and such deity. Now they flipped it and they turned Kronos into Lucifer. So that is what happened. They turned Kronos into Lucifer. And so now instead of them sacrificing children to Kronos, they sacrifice children to Lucifer, and they believe children are closest to God. It's because they believe Lucifer is God. Now, going into angels and demons, angels are angles. Angels are angles. Angels is the mispronunciation of angle. Angels are high angles of light. Light being information. So angels or angelic information is information that is pointed in a higher perspective. Now, I'm going to go in from the influence that we see from an angel. So this is what an angel looks like according to Western civilization knowledge. Let me just get a good picture of an angel with its wings. I'm going to use this. You see golden. This is what an angel looks like. This is what an angel looks like that we know. I know you guys know what an angel looks like, but I'm gonna show you the influence of where the angel's image came from, what depiction it came from. I'm gonna just put Ma'at. We need to see the real Ma'at. Not that Ma'at they came up with, that they painted themselves. Hey, how's everyone doing? Hey, how you doing? Oh gosh. But yeah, this is basically where they got the depiction of an angel from. See, so this is the depiction they got their idea of an angel from looking at Ma'at or any other Egyptian goddess. So, with that being said, anyway, like angels are angles. They're high angles of light. That's what an angel is. Now, when we go to the demons, demons are low angles of light or light that bends into it and it bends into itself. So, All this can be classified as high and low vibrations. So an angel is a high vibrational source of information, and demons are a low vibrational source of information. You can break that down between higher and lower self. Your higher self is the part of your mind that you access to become a better person, to spiritually evolve. Your lower self is the lower part of your mind that you access to carry out I would say, I don't even want to say the word animalistic. So, because animals can be high in vibration as well. I'm going to just say demonic or negative vibes, for a lack of a better words, for now. Because that's basically what a demon is. Something that influences you to do something that puts you in your lower self. Your lower self is basically your bottom chakras, which is your root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus. The middle is your heart chakra. That's the space that you want to live in. And your higher self is your throat chakra, your third eye chakra, and your crown chakra. So with that being said, that's basically a breakdown of an angel and a demon. Now, once we go deeper into this stuff, I'm going to go into the planets that these deities, these gods, or these, what do I want to say? These deities, these gods, these prophets all point to. So I broke this down before. Jesus Christ. Jesus, the Spanish pronunciation of Jesus is Jesus. That means Hail Zeus. Jesus is similar to Zeus. Jesus is Zeus, basically. Zeus rules over the planet Jupiter. Christ means consciousness, or conscious. Christ means consciousness. So Jesus Christ means Jupiter consciousness, meaning that Jesus. Let me break down what the meaning of Jupiter is. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, expansion, knowledge, learning, fortune, things like that. So, hey, how you doing? Checking in. I appreciate it. So yeah, Jupiter is. So Jesus Christ, the jar means Jupiter my bad, I'm getting distracted by the background. Jupiter consciousness. And Jesus Christ basically was able to heal and people and to guide people through teaching and wisdom. And then he was so good at it, or he blew up for lack of a better word, or he was highly known or successful by it because of his fortunes through Jupiter. Now, we go to Israel. Israel means Isis, Ra, Elohim. So in the place of Israel, they worship the moon, the sun, and Saturn. Now, we go to Moses. Moses is basically represents the Aries constellation, the ram. Moses is the ram. The ram points to the Aries constellation. But before we go to the Aries constellation, we had to go back to Asar. Asar is Osiris. Well, Osiris in Greek. Moses for Rome, Osiris for Greece, and Asar for Egypt, aka Kemet. And that they both point to the Aries constellation, which is the Aries constellation or the Asar constellation. And with that being said, I can go on. Who else? I said Isis was the moon. Saturn. Elohim. Kronos points to Saturn. You have Venus, which Lucifer points to. They say Lucifer is the morning star. Lucifer is the bearer of light. The morning star is Venus. It's basically Venus. This is the Venus symbol. For those who don't know, they say, oh, this is the devil horns. This is actually the Venus symbol. Because a lot of the symbolism that was created or shown all throughout Africa is painted demonic now. And I'm going to go in why this stuff is painted demonic. Now, going on. Madam Lavas. So, you said that's great. Yeah. It like to be honest, all these spiritual systems and religion, they all point to astrology. Like, everything in these folklores don't represent anything that physically happened. They represent what they represent astrological events, and the astrological influences are the energies that we intake, the energies that we get from the stars. So I forgot what the astrological event was for Christmas, but it's like a certain star transits. It's Gemini. Okay, you're a Gemini sun. I mean Gemini moon. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius sun, and my moon is in Capricorn. But my Gemini, my rising sign is Gemini. So, yeah. But with that being said, what I wanted to say, I'm trying to find people. Cool. So basically, how I'm gonna just break down how these Egyptian symbols got evil or were tainted evil is because there's people such as Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky, the Pope, who else? All these people, all these I'm gonna say evil Greeks. All these evil Greeks decided to wear Egyptian symbols or Kemetic symbols and do wicked stuff such as child sacrificing, child torturing, manipulation rituals, all sorts of demonic stuff or weird stuff that would consider weird that with these symbols on that they became tainted. So all these symbols, like these occult symbols, came from Egypt, but their original meaning are not what these people would say. Like this is a Venus sign. This is the Venus sign, but if I throw this up and I point this over my head, you think it's the devil sign. But this is actually the Venus sign. What else? This sign. This is a peace. This was a peace sign in Egypt. This means no separation. This means separation. This peace sign means separation. This means unity. But since they want to throw it on Baphomet, which I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys Baphomet. But yeah, this is Baphomet. So you see, it's the same symbol. It's the same symbol, but I'm gonna show you the Egyptian version of it. See, this is the real peace sign. You see, now this is the Kemetic peace sign. The Kemetic sign, this brings together oneness. This is the Kemetic peace sign. This is the European peace sign, a sign of war. What's up? A sign of war / victory, separation. See, now I showed you guys the Baphomet version. It's basically that, but it represents. So they actually aren't demonic, but they're depicted to be more of a demonic sense. Yes. Yes. Exactly. That's basically what it is. They're not demonic because the peace sign, this sign means peace, oneness, but they put it on Baphomet to make as a sign of evilness because Baphomet is considered an evil deity. Baphomet is Lucifer, basically. So with that being said, they put these signs on demonic symbols to get us to not embrace what we came up with. What's another sign? What is another sign? The pyramids. The pyramids, you know, when they throw up the rock, the pyramids is a symbolization of a woman giving birth. The pyramids were built in representation of the triangular shape of a woman giving birth. The pyramids are considered wombs, or spiritual meanings of a womb. And with that being said, they throw up the rock. If you throw up the rock, they're gonna automatically assume that you're a part of the Boule, a part of these secret societies, or whatever, or even AKA. I know AKAs throw up, or is it AKA? I think Deltas throw the pyramid up. But other than that, if you're not if you're not a part of any Greek fraternity, they're going to consider it you throwing up as a demonic symbol. Now, I'm going to go in on the all-seeing eye and what the all-seeing eye really is. The rock, it symbolizes the pyramid. That's basically, yeah. So, no, they really don't. So this is the all-seeing eye. This is what you consider the all-seeing eye. And where the all-seeing eye comes from. The all-seeing eye is the eye of Horus, the eye of Heru. Now I'm going to break down what the eye of Heru is. Or show you what it means, what it meant. Eye of Horus. Eye of Horus and the eye of Thoth. They basically come from these symbols. Ancient Origins. This is from ancientorigins.com. So basically, the eye of Horus, the true meaning of an ancient powerful symbol. See, it looks just like the all-seeing eye, and you see the pyramid. This is the eye of Horus. But they tainted it in a evil way. So the eye of Horus is best known as a symbol of ancient Egypt, known also as the Wadjet. This magical symbol is believed to provide protection, health, and rejuvenation. Due to the powerful protective powers, the eye of Horus was popularly used by ancient Egyptians, both the living and the dead, as amulets. Even today, the eye of Horus continues to be used as a symbol of protection. Yes, it symbolizes power and protection. Because it's based off of the Egyptian goddess Wadjet. Wadjet was a reptilian-based deity, or a snake. Wadjet was a cobra. The cobra in Egypt meant protection. It's a divine animal. A cobra is a divine animal because black people share a pineal gland with a cobra, and we're made up of reptile DNA. Because even the pharaoh would be able to move like a snake, back in the day because of the Kundalini energy. The snake represents Kundalini energy, the energy that goes from the spine to the pineal gland and produces neuromelanin. Now, so they took these symbols and made them evil for a reason. And they told us that to keep us from practicing, different our spiritual practices and applying it to help us become better as people in this modern time. Not to cling on to the past, but give us a sense of power, a sense of strength, a sense of, oh, we can do this too. You feel me? And they've done a bunch of wicked stuff. Now, going into what the foundation of ancient Greece was really about, the political structure of ancient Greece. Hold on. All right, hope you got. Yeah, okay, I'm pulling that up now. So, this is what they did in Greece. Hold on. Dang, I can't. Do I even want to show this? I don't think I want to show this. Facebook might take this live video down. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. But basically, pedestry was a political power thing, political structure in ancient Greece. And it was based off of, pedestry is basically man, boy, love. So that was their political influence or how they became in power. And the political influence of Greece was pedestry. Ancient Greece was pedestry. This is why they're so fond of little boys. Now, it's a lot of little boys this is why they want children. They collect children up too. Or snatch children up and sacrifice them because they've been doing this for over 2,000 years. And with that being said, they took the knowledge of people in Kemet. Oh, I didn't mean to flip the camera. People in Kemet. They took the power. Matter of fact, I can show this. Pederasty in ancient Greece was a socially acknowledged romantic relationship between an adult male, and a younger male, usually in his teens. It was showed as characteristics in classical periods. So, and this is from what was pederasty in ancient Greece. This is from historyextra.com. Don't worry, I'm gonna link this all together. I'm gonna piece this all together for you. What was pederasty in ancient Greece? Pederasty in ancient Greece was the name given to a sexual relationship between an adult male and young boy, usually in his teens. But how pederasty was conducted, how was it and socially accepted? Professor Paul Cartledge from University of Cambridge University explains. Now, I'm not going to go into the full article. So with that being said, they did pederasty in ancient Greece. Now, going to how pedophilia is viewed in Greece today. Hey, what's up, everybody who just doing this ability? Now, pedophilia is claimed to be a disability in Greece now, allowing pedophiles as a special status. So, with that being said, pedophilia is a disability now in Greece, and people can get welfare benefits basically from having this quote unquote disability. Now, where I'm going with this, since Greece has a long history of pederasty and pedophilia, Tom Hanks, who is an alleged pedophile, an alleged sex trafficker, just went over to Greece to flee from being charged or flee court systems or whatever, flee his crimes basically. So this is important to know because Greece, not only did they taint ancient African symbolism, they've done demonic stuff to taint the symbolism while wearing the symbolism from a spirituality that they took, concepts that they took and utilized it for their own benefits while tainting it and painting it as demonic, along with, allowing people that engaged in their other cultural, their past cultural actions to get a free pass into their country and get benefits from it, basically. So, with that being said, Tom Hanks fled to Greece, and Greece has a history of pedophilia and pederasty, when now turned it into a disability, a mental handicap, and he's getting benefited from that, along with escaping from his charges. For now, at least, until somebody or till the president or sends the military to go get him if he ever does that. So who knows? So, and with that being said, not only have they tainted ancient African culture, they've tainted the spirituality, they've tainted symbolism, spirituality, culture. They also did a lot of I'm glad it does. It all adds up. They done all this demonic stuff, child sacrifice, torture, pederasty, while wearing these symbols. And now, everything, they are allowing someone who is accused of this stuff in the United States to come to their country. Like, not only does that, show you that white privilege exists, not only does that show you white privilege exists, it also shows you that no matter what, you try to embrace as a black person, whether it's your culture or not, it's still worse. It's still worse. It's still more demonic than being an alleged pedophile, basically. It's still more demonic than that. You see how you see how if you bring up Egypt to a Christian, no matter the race, they're going to paint it as demonic. Like, oh, Egypt was demonic. They did all this stuff, idol worship. They did this. They worship cats and stuff. They started all this weird stuff. No, it was ancient Greece who started all that. They took the philosophies of Egypt and put their own demonic twist on it. Now they got you thinking that the stuff that they're actually doing, your ancestors did. Like, no, that's not the case. And with that being said, it's crazy. But like I said before, we're going into a new astrological age, meaning that all this stuff is going to come to light anyway, because the age of Aquarius is the age of information. And go watch my last live stream if you haven't caught it. I basically broke down how you can tell time astrologically, because time is in a cycle, and then we move from one age to the next age. We're in the age of Pisces now, and it's going into the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius is the age of information, science, facts. Everybody's gonna be leaning towards a more logical sense of thinking instead of a emotional, faith-based thinking system. So the kids that are going to be born are going to have more of a logical perspective on things instead of a emotional based belief system, faith based. It's barely going to be anything that's faith based. It's going to be things that are backed by science, facts, things like that. So with that being said, all this stuff is going to come to light eventually. And now, since we're on the verge of the age of information, everything that's getting exposed now is years of building, and people are going to become more aware. And the people that are doing this stuff now, they're aware that it's coming. They're aware that it's coming, so they're doing any and everything to keep all this stuff from coming to light. They're doing any and everything to keep this stuff from coming to light. Like, it's like, if you have the power, you're not going to just give your power up. Like, if you had the power to control all these people, control their minds, control how they think, how they speak, how they act, you're not going to want to get rid of all that power that you possess. So they're going to go out. They're not going to go out like, hey, we're just going to give up all our power. No, they're going to go out with a fight. So they're going to try to stir up all this chaos to, keep people in check and to stay in power. So things will unfold in 2030 is going to be an interesting year. It's going to be an interesting build up to 2030. Unless something miraculous happens and all these people are gone. Somehow all these people are gone. But with that being said, yeah, things are getting crazy. And it's getting crazy for a reason. It all deals with the astrological influence of the stars. Because as above, so below. As above, so below. Whatever is happening in this physical plane is happening in another dimensional plane. So it's happening on different star systems. It's happening in different forms of life. Different forms of light, different forms of information. It's just everything that's going on in the universe is happening on different dimensions. So if people are at war with each other on Earth, there's people on war with each other on another star system. There's people at war with each other in a different galaxy. There's people at war with each other in a different verse. Because there's more than just the universe. There's the multiverse. There's the omniverse. It's different verses that are out here. I broke that all down in sacred geometry. Because, you can... different shapes and different geometric shapes represent different verses or different forms of life, different creations of life. So with that being said, this is what has been going on. I'm gonna talk about gods. I'm gonna talk about gods as well. Like, I'm gonna go into like the gods thing. All these gods represented different forms of consciousness. They represent different forms of consciousness. They also represent different star systems. So, Isis, she was Aset. I'm gonna say her real name. Aset was the moon goddess. Ra, he was the sun god in Egypt. So obviously he was the sun. Thoth pointed to the sun, not the sun, pointed to the moon. You had you had, Asar, who pointed to the Aries constellation. So different deities, different gods, different prophets, different angels, demons, they all point to a star system. We all come from a different star system. Even though black people are the organic beings of the earth, we come from a different star system as well. We just don't come from the Sirius star system. So what is it, all of this called, this whole topic? I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. This whole topic, this is just me rambling, but I have different topics to ramble about. That's basically it. I just picked a couple different topics to ramble about and, give information and piece information together, hopefully. Hopefully this all made sense. So with that being said, everything has, I would say the point of this is that everything has a influence by the stars. That's all. That's what you can take away from this. Everything that good happens is influenced by the stars. Everything that bad happens is influenced by the stars. You just gotta look into it. What else? Or how we do things is influenced by the stars. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. That's what astrology is. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So let's say this. Let me see. So let's say certain periods it may be easier for you to get into a relationship. Certain periods is because maybe, let's say I'm a Sagittarius. My son is in Sagittarius. Let's say Venus is in Leo. Let's say Venus is in Leo. During this time period, it may be easier for me to act out my actions to attract someone in a romantic level. Let's just say that. So because Sagittarius is in trine with Leo, trine means to accelerate. So it's an acceleration of my actions. My actions will accelerate the process of me finding someone to be in a romantic relationship with. Let's see something else. What else? Or versus if Venus was in what is it? 30 degrees, 90 degrees, 30, 90, Sagittarius, Taurus. Let's say versus if Venus was in Taurus or Capricorn. Venus was in Capricorn. Let's say Venus was like in Capricorn. That means it would be a square. Oh, 90 degrees is a square. My bad. 90 degrees is a square. So 150, 150. 150 is the opposite. My bad, y'all. 180 is the opposite. So 90. What's 3 signs above Gemini? Trine, sextile, 90. Capricorn, Aries, Pisces. Okay, my bad, y'all. I had to think about it. So let's say Venus was in Pisces. That is a square. That is considered a square transit. So a square means conflict. So it'd be my actions may conflict with the transit that Venus is in. So my actions may conflict with how my loved one will perceive, or the person I'm dealing with will perceive my actions. It will be in conflict. So with that being said, the basis of this whole topic is that the stars influence all the evil that is going on, and people utilize energies of planets to do evil stuff. So with that being said, the god of Kronos, the Greek god Kronos, ruled over Saturn not Aquarius, Uranus, and Greeks would sacrifice children to the god Kronos on a Saturday for a reason, and they still do this on a Saturday, but they changed the god from Kronos to Lucifer. So they sacrifice children on a Saturday, and they have these children longer than, they don't just do this all in one day. They actually build up and they torture the child maybe for like a whole week, maybe 2 weeks straight. And with that being said, they're utilizing these energies of the planets because they know what's going on. Let me break this down. I broke this down before. Let's say election day is always on a Tuesday. Election is always on a Tuesday for a reason, because they're utilizing the energy of Mars, which invokes or incites a competition. Or you see presidential debates are on a Tuesday because it incites competition. You know, we're all going to the polls to pick a side that's competing. You got, since it's a two-party system, I know there's other candidates and whatever, but the main competition is between the Democrats and the Republicans. So with that being said, Mars being the planet of competition, passion, aggression, competition, like competitiveness, they put, and Mars rules over Tuesday. Mars rules over Tuesday, so they put election day on Tuesday for a reason, because Tuesday is the day of competition, and election is a competition. Let's see who's gonna win the election. It's something you can win to become president, or win a Congress seat, win the governor election, the mayoral election. So all this stuff is lined up together. Let's see Sunday. That's easy. Sunday, literally Sunday. Sunday rules Sunday. People praise and worship on Sunday for a reason, because Sunday is the day of praise and worship, and the sun is the planet of ego, action, character, things like that. So you praise and worship on Sunday for a reason. Like churches on Sunday for a reason. Praise and worship on Sunday, because that's the characteristics of the sun. And with that being said, I know I was rambling a little bit. I hope this all made sense, but I love you guys. Hope you guys learned something about peace.